David? Sir. Sir. How are you?
Well, how are you?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call to order this public meeting of the Board of Johnson County Commissioners on this day of November 2020 at 3:00 p.m. Please pray with us if we care to, and then we'll stand for vote.
You bow with me for a moment of prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we as always come to thank you, especially for this beautiful weather that we're experiencing this time of year. Dear Lord, there's just an awful lot of anxiety in our country today, but we know that the faith of this country is placed in your hands. Dear Lord, we just have to accept that your will be done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Kick It Hunger and Homeless Awareness Week.
Video. There's good.
Hi, how are you doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. So my name is Jenna Martin. I am the manager for development and engagement for Kick It. I'm on behalf of Katie, our executive director. And so today we are asking if the commissioners would allow for a display for next week, November 15th through the 22nd, for National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, which is in conjunction with the proclamations that have been signed by the mayor of Greenwood, Mayor Myers, as well as the mayor of Franklin, Mayor Barnett, in recognition of the National Week. The National Week presentation for the display would include a tent. It would be a nice tent that's not been used, along with no more than 8 by 8.5 by 11 signs that on the back have the Kick It logo in conjunction with the logo for the National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. And then in the front would have statistics and our mission and vision statement of the homelessness experienced in Johnson County.
Sunday to Sunday. When you say an 8.5 by 11 sign, is that a 8.5 foot by 11 foot sign?
Nope, they would be smaller signs that have one statistic each. Yep. And so there would be a tent, and on one side there would be 4, on the other side there would be 4. So it'd be aesthetically pleasing. They would be in professional penmanship, meaning that they are going through Vistaprint. So these are weather resistant signs, whether it has rained or there's wind or anything like that, that gets staked into the ground, and would not look unprofessional by any means.
I move for approval.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Do you want me to follow up with it?
Yes, please. And Sheena, our county attorney, will follow up with you on this, just so you know. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, my only reservation in that is,
Was waiting. I saw it.
yeah, admittedly, there's always a homelessness issue in every part of the country, but I can tell you, in Johnson County, I think we are just doing a great job in that respect, taking care of a lot of the, especially the seniors, which I have more of an awareness of, that working with people all over the county. We've got so many good food pantries, food banks that are taking care of people. And trustees. I think they're doing a great job on working with these people that are needing housing on a temporary basis, so. The only reason I bring this up is because sometimes when you do this kind of awareness, it makes people think, well, you're not doing a good job, or you're leaving people in a void out there, and I just don't think that's the case, but, you know, I applaud you and Katie for doing what you're doing and your efforts there. And thank you for that.
We truly appreciate it, and I concur. I do believe that we're doing such a great job that we're actually really low on resources. So we want to continue to make people aware of our organization so that they are connected. They understand that we are there to continue to help those that may be falling through the cracks, but also if they are able to give their time, talent, or treasure, we would be more than willing to work with that as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff's salary contract for 2021.
Good afternoon, Wayne Burgess, Johnson County Sheriff. Council has already looked at the contract and approved it. Now it just needs to go through the commissioners. Sheena's in it, but she offered it.
I don't see pending legal here.
Move to approve. Second.
Have a motion, second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
You look relaxed, Sheriff.
He's on his vacation.
I know. Yeah,
Working 3 days of the vacation.
I like the relaxed look. Bossy is approval to apply for the 2021 state Bossy agreement.
Lauren Rainierson, Bossy Director. I just need approval to apply for the state Bossy agreement.
Sorry.
Have a motion, a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And Lauren, I know I haven't worked with you much since you've been here, but a lot of times if you want to just email me with the information.
Okay.
And I can, or you can come here unless there's some questions that would come up from that way I can present it.
Okay.
You don't have to take the time. If that's what you, if you like coming here, that's fine too. I just want to make sure I offer that to you because that's the offer I'd like to the judge.
Okay.
They kind of work.
Great, thank you.
Just so you got that information. Thank you for coming. Approval of contract with Diebold Nixdorf pending legal review. What? Diebold?
Nixdorf.
I'm going Diebold.
It's just an annual service maintenance contract for some equipment in the treasurer's office.
The Diebold Nixdorf.
Diebold next door,
Diebold.
Dumbledore. I don't know.
Dumbledore. He moved.
Second.
Ocean is
Both
like,
made it, we're both second.
oh, double right.
Pass this way.
This pending legal review, again. Motion is second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Creighton. Purdue Extension contractual services agreements.
I think it looks pretty much the exact same, so I'm making a motion for approval. Second.
Motion is second. Under further discussion, I just see that amount on there. What do we get for that? That's a lot of money.
I think they're making salaries.
I don't know.
We get some in kind, I think. Not, it's all, I mean, this is what we typically do every year.
No, I'm
So,
saying.
but I think you just get extension services, you get, Sarah, I mean, she's in there.
My son's not here. I think Purdue paid for. We paid
Yeah,
the
I'm
other.
pretty sure, yeah.
But you've got the other administration people.
But it talks about like some projects, so we're working with 4-H or youth or something. I just didn't know what
You got the 4-H extension officer, that there's other people that work in there that cover salaries.
I just wasn't sure what all covered. and what
They do cooking and sewing in the coat club.
They do.
First started. They have planting and farming.
As long as they're not cooking goats.
I just mark it.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Hey, Liz. Highway Department. And thank you for answering the question. I know that was probably a trivial, stupid question.
No, it's a fair question. And I'm happy to.
I appreciate that.
Luke Maston, Highway Director. First item on the agenda is our proposed scoring results and our request to begin contract negotiations for PE and right-of-way services on a Bridge 66 rehabilitation project. Based on our review of the proposals received, we are recommending that BS Engineering be selected as the firm that submitted the best proposal and would propose beginning contract negotiations with them.
What is BS? I normally know, but
I don't know, actually.
it's just an issue.
Probably the only two letters left. All the others were taken.
That's pretty witty.
It is.
I move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item is the road maintenance interlocal agreement with the town of Parkersville. This is a resolution and interlocal agreement proposed for approval. This updates the previous interlocal agreement that we had with the town. Over the years that we've been working with the town, that has actually worked out very well. And revising the interlocal to the current version, it took care of a few minor issues that we've run into, clarified a few things that make it a little easier at my level and at the street supervisor level to work within the local agreement.
So you did get everything worked out with them. We had that discussion last week.
Yeah, the interlocal agreement, we are on the same page as the town.
Sure.
I believe
I've
it's
been
up.
working on this for a while. I've been involved with it for a while, so it sounds like you got everything worked out. There was a little glitches in it, but I think they got it figured out, so.
Now I got a question on page 2. Paragraph 4B. Talks about without payment for services. I don't think you could do that. I
Well,
don't know how you would provide services without payment. You can't use highway funds on somebody else's.
that's correct. So that would be more of a situation where we partner on something. There are several road segments where a portion of the road is Parkersville and a portion of the road is the counties. Not quite as bad as we've had in some other situations by Greenwood, but there was a kind of a cutoff in 2010. What were the roads that were on the town's inventory at that time? And then anything after that point, the main road stayed on the county inventories. So we do still have some roads where the road segment may be partly us and partly the town. So that is primarily what we're trying to cover with the way that that's written.
Joke on a Snicker bar. Anyway, I understand that, but I still don't know how you can keep that wording in there without payment for service. I don't think you can.
I think that's exactly how the previous agreement was written.
Probably.
It might have.
The agreement was working very well between the town and the county. We didn't change a whole lot of things other than maybe some minor administrative things that make it easier on a day-to-day basis for the stuff.
Yeah, but legislatively, he cannot use highway funds on something that's not attributable to the highway.
Well, under the interlocal agreement statute, you can take over responsibility for another locality.
And that's what I'm saying, it would be like, he couldn't do a section of road out here for Shelby County, just do it. And not get reimbursed for it.
I don't have an agreement with Shelby.
I
But
know.
I don't know that that's what we're proposing here, I guess, what that's worth. So if there's concern about that particular wording, we can look at modifying.
I don't know the questioning it. Yeah.
I don't know that the intent was to necessarily go and do a project like within Old Town Barbersville or something like that. I think it was more along the lines of what I mentioned earlier, which is there are going to be situations where we've got roads that belong to both of us. So we can,
If you read that whole paragraph there, it said the parties through mutual agreement by the Bartlesville Streets Superintendent, Johnson County Highway Director, may perform work on roads the other party is responsible to maintain under the following parameters. And then without payment for services. That's what I question. I don't know how you can do work on their roads without getting paid for it.
we couldn't. So
So you might want to take that out.
the exchange of services might cover that better than the without payment for service.
Well, but the way I read this, it would be on roads that you're not doing the exchange on.
Right. Okay.
Okay, anyway, I still think it's a point of contention. Look into it.
We can look at modifying that language.
All right.
I would move for approval with some modified language.
Thank you. I'll second that then.
Yeah, I think probably the best way to motion that would be pending legal review of modification, just to make sure you're okay with it, regardless of the motion good, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The last item on the agenda is the revised purchase agreement with Cartograph Systems LLC. Back in January, we presented a purchase agreement to upgrade our Cartograph software, which is our work management software. Since that time, there are a few modifications or additions that needed to be made. We had not actually begun the implementation of the software upgrade yet. So rather than do an amendment to the previous agreement, we essentially have revised the agreement. So this new agreement would take the place of what you previously approved back in January.
Second.
And a motion second pending legal. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, sir. Under Board of Commissioners, Resolution 2020-R-8. Resolution providing reimbursement of public health and safety payroll costs with CARES Act funding.
Put it on hold.
Is no any discussion?
I don't have a problem. I mean, I make a motion to approve. So
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. Just move on.
It is no- Okay, put it back up. Is it down? Nobody ever drinks out of it. No, use the water downstairs.
I guess I'm spoiled.
That's my fault.
Yeah. Here you go.
Okay, I'm better. I'll move for approval.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Wagner Irwin Sheila and Associates Consulting Services. And that's for job descriptions. Correct.
I'll second it. How many job descriptions are we looking at?
I think right now it's just as,
It's just as needed, so,
They're on a on-call basis, basically.
yeah, exactly.
we've got
So,
some that I know need to be reviewed.
Right.
Probably. or
No, we
five
have
or six,
two
but-
right now. Two in the desk.
Have a motion second, any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Appointment of Assistant County Attorney Zach Lang, or Lange. Mo-
Move for approval.
Second.
Yeah, motion second, any further?
It's in red.
Any
That
starts,
means pending legal since it's highlighted in red on the agenda, doesn't. I'm just asking.
That's just additional information.
start date is Monday, correct? Just for record. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. JWF Specialty Company Administrative Service Agreement Addendum C.
Move to approve.
Sorry.
Have a motion second, any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. New and business claims.
I didn't see anything. The sheriff's done a wonderful job. I just got to commend him publicly here. The only thing I had in it, saw that I would question again is T-shirts or something for 911, but I am on wearing apparel. Other than that, I'm agree to approve.
Sorry.
Have a motion second, any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
holiday.
Yep. I want to say that.
Okay.
Holiday luncheon.
I didn't want to.
Presentation.
I think
David's here.
there's going to be some discussion.
David Little, Johnson County Department of Planning and Zoning. Last, 2 weeks ago, I was here and asked you to approve the date for the holiday luncheon. And you did approve December 23rd. Since then, this was Friday, the Employee Association met, and after a conversation about some concerns we've had voiced and at the advice of the health department, we decided to recommend that instead we would not have the holiday luncheon, but have a spring or summer gathering, perhaps at Johnson County Park or at the theater down the way. A similar format, a meal, give perhaps the employees a portion of the day off, maybe institute additional games and some other things we can do outside. So I think that we're just bringing it here for conversation. Take your temperature on that, see what your thoughts are.
That's good.
Don't mind that,
And
Totally.
Betsy called, she got caught up. She got caught up in something else. So,
well, I don't think it's any mystery of where I've been on this COVID pandemic from middle of March on. I'm not necessarily in favor of canceling it, and I can tell you a couple of reasons why. One, that particular time of the year, we're trying to do something that kind of coincides with the Christmas event and the way of gift giving and all of that. It's a slow time, a very slow time for the employees right there before Christmas. So very little interaction with the general public. So it's a great time to do it versus trying to do it in the spring or summer when we could be extremely busy or much busier. The other thing is that because we're witnessing the increased recognition of cases of this COVID-19 virus, you would have to assume that it's going to continue to grow exponentially. until there is a virus, or we have herd immunity that kind of makes it diminish in its effectiveness. So I guess what I'm saying is there's no assurance that next spring or summer that anything's going to be any different than it is now. I mean, maybe even be more accelerated as far as more cases being recognized. So I guess for me, it's at some point we got to get back to living our lives. The fear of this virus, I've said from day one, I think has been over exaggerated, even to the point of maybe through the press purposely trying to frighten the general public now. If employees didn't want to come, if they're worried about their safety, I can understand that, and that's the individual choice. But those that did want to come, I don't particularly want to deny them the opportunity. So that's just kind of where I'm at on it. We can continue to live in this kind of state of fear, I guess, or repression of public activities, or we can decide to move ahead.
I don't know that it's capitulating fear. I think we're hearing from a lot of people, they're just not coming. And I think it's an opportunity to move into a safer environment outdoors, safer season, hotter weather. And maybe even expand the thing so it's not just a meal and sit at the table for a couple hours.
And I don't know, obviously I can't look into the individual's personal lives, but I sincerely doubt that any of our employees are going to hold up during the Christmas season and not attend other functions, be around other people. And so my point is that if they're going to be out and about and they're going to be associating with others, what's the difference?
Well, at the holiday luncheon, you're in one room with several hundred other people in a venue where they've had issues these past several months, a lot of issues. Otherwise, I think you're probably with family in a room with 15 or 20 or 25 other people that you do spend time with on a regular basis. So I think if people are going to drop one or the other, they're going to drop the one room with 400 other people before they drop the one room with family.
And I respect what you're saying and what you guys decided. I just want to give you my opinion on it.
I appreciate that. Any other thoughts?
No, I mean, we've been at odds with this is probably March on thinking. I'm more on the cautious side. I think he's more not on the cautious side. So, I mean, I respect your decision on pulling this. I mean, I would be in favor of, I've had 4 departments come to me and say, we're not going to show up. I know there is some question about the half day. I think that's my biggest issue here. That we usually paid the half day if they showed up. The only thing I guess I would like to see the board do is decide something. If we do move this to the summer, spring, if it would just move to then, or if we just work them through this whole day that we usually have the luncheon. I guess that would be my question. I mean, I don't have a problem. I support you there, but I know you've got boots on the ground. You've heard from a lot of departments that are probably just saying they're going to pull out, and I don't want to partial, and then you pay some, and then with this COVID being going on, you not pay them. It creates more turmoil, I believe. So without just canceling it totally.
I probably wouldn't be as adversarial, but nobody's contacted me. I've not heard from one department. So I would think that these department heads have concerns about this, they would have contacted me also. I haven't heard from anyone. So I'm kind of flying in the dark here.
And I know this may take a few minutes, but I don't have anything to do till the council meeting. So we have 3 elected officials here and 1 department head. Would you, 3 elected officials and department head, mind speaking your mind on this for us, please? You know, I look, we're all equals here, we're all elected officials,
Warm
so.
them up for me there.
You started to walk up with me and sat back down.
What you want to do, protect her?
I think it's a good idea to postpone and kind of wait, just with the numbers are going up and the joint incident command team has met, we've spoken. There's some people that's on that team right now that have the COVID and it's starting to affect us. I know that we're testing more folks. I get that part of it, but with what we're getting, I think the numbers are going to be a little bit more increased the second go around, and it's just being safe. And Betsy's, doing everything she can, and they're right. The venue that it's at, the numbers have been from weddings or different events that they've had. But for me, I'd soon have my people wait because I need them. They're very experienced. Everybody that works with the county is essential, but I need it especially in the jail. So.
Mr. Treasurer? Don't go anywhere, Lou.
I think I forgot to say Michelle Ann Graves, Johnson County Treasurer, for the record earlier.
Want to say it twice.
Okay. Dumbledore, no.
I was trying to think of one of the other ones.
That's all I got.
That's all I got too.
My position, I'm always about less intervention and more choice. I would say leave it up to the employees. If you go, you get paid. If you don't go, you don't get paid, but it's your choice. But I have a staff of 5 and myself, so.
Thank you. Ms. Recorder.
Teresa Petro, Johnson County Recorder. I'm with Michelle. I think choice is good in most cases, but I was in the meeting Friday. And a really good point was brought up that if we did have this and we had cases that came out of it, it's going to look bad for the county. Oh, the county got 350 people together, and now we've got positive cases. And I do also think that there are a lot of people that are going to make a choice of family things or a big public function. I myself have elderly parents. They've kind of, self-protected themselves. And I recently, a couple of people that I know very well are very ill with it. And I've chosen not to go to like a funeral and visit a good friend because I don't want to carry it to my parents. So next spring, summer, we're going to be outside. Things appear to be a little better when we're outside in the open. So I think that if just one case came out of the Christmas party with that many people, it would reflect that on the county, I think. So thanks.
Thank you. Luke? Yeah, I'm not sure I told him to stay. Sit. Boo-boo. The 7 basic commands, right? Sit, stay, come. Yeah, we won't go into.
I'm pretty stubborn and treat motivated.
Well, that's it. Okay, dogs are.
I put a little thought into the timing of the luncheon this year with everything that's going on. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little concerned about sending all of our snow plow drivers in December to a place where there's a possibility of even if not getting the virus, having to quarantine because we were in the same place. Just for the winter in general, that's one of my biggest concerns is what happens if we have a quarantine that takes out half of our drivers or 25% of our drivers. We don't have a plan B in that situation. So whether we have it or don't have it, I have that concern just when it comes to our response if we get snowstorms, and we will in between Christmas and New Year. If we've got a quarantine for 2 weeks, we're going to be in trouble.
Just out of curiosity, Luke, are you canceling your We'll get together, you always do.
We actually haven't been generating enough revenue for that anyway. So we didn't hold it last year and we don't plan to hold it this year.
Just had to ask.
If that situation took care of itself, just because there wasn't enough revenue to do that, I would say I would have pushed pretty hard not to have that for the exact same reasons. We just can't put ourselves in a position where we can't respond for. So,
Understood. I do have to say, and then I know I'll probably get my no shave November taken away from me, but I know the sheriff's office also has a Christmas party on their own. And I assume that's still going to happen.
We're monitoring it right now, so numbers, but there's a good chance that may not occur.
And I was wondering how that was going. So just want to make sure we got everything.
Those are pretty much the big, other than the people that work in the building might have something that they work with those people on an everyday basis from each individual office. I don't know if you have something separate than the total county Christmas party, or I would assume they have some kind of little gathering or something.
I see Michelle saying, yes.
Yeah, we do. We usually do a dinner with the 5 or 6 of us.
The commissioner usually do something too. So we'll visit. Look for something. So, and I know that's something, it's a bad situation either way. But I have to state, and I'm just going to say this, and I think most people know it anyway, as being the benefactor of the one that actually sponsors that holiday luncheon, I think I agree with it should be choice, but I also agree that we'd be putting people possibly in a position to where the county could be responsible for some things that we wouldn't normally be responsible for, as far as like workers' comp, COVID pay, things like that. And I have to consider those things. And the other things on a personal level that I have considered, just put this out there too, is I don't know what the implication could be toward me being the monetary sponsor of that event. Maybe that could cause me some issues on a personal basis. So my point to that is, if we did this luncheon in that enclosed area, then I would probably have to pull out as a benefactor just for those reasons alone. So there would be costs associated with that I think the employees a lot of them won't come if there's a cost associated with that anyway. So just something to think about. And I know we're not here to make a decision, but we have at my business, we have a summer, what we call a summer get together. That works out real well. We used to have a Christmas dinner, and it just more people just quit showing up because of the time of year and everything that's going on. Even though they got paid for that evening coming, and we went to a summer get together, and it's been much more fun since we did that. We're having a lot better attendance if we've done that too. So I know it's been called the holiday luncheon for a long, long time, but does it really need to be a holiday luncheon? I guess it's kind of where I'm going with that is I think maybe with even all the employees we have that the summer get together would be much more fun because you can do more things outdoors, volleyball, pickleball, just a lot of different stuff that we can do that we can't do now, cornhole, things like that. And just to throw that out there. And I don't know what we're supposed to determine today as far as commissioners.
Well, you've already made a decision as far as December 23rd, closing the building early and giving employees half a day off. So I guess you can make a decision with regard to that part.
And I assume really it's not our decision on the luncheon period, right?
The employee association seemed to make a pretty enthusiastic decision to move it to spring summer. So the part that they come to you for a decision on is, you have control over when buildings are open and closed. So that's where we're at.
So from my perspective, I'm not debating which would be the best time of year to have it, or the function itself as far as participation. All I'm debating or stating is that we don't get back to normal, we're never gonna get back to normal. I'll tell you, you can't live your life in fear. The next June or April or July or whenever the devil you decide to have it, you could be faced with the same thing back, I mean, at that point in time. The reality with this so-called pandemic is the death rate is 0.002. And that's not just nationally, that's internationally, universal. That means 2 out of every 1,000 people that contracted pass away. That is not much of a mortality rate in the grand scheme of things. And the recovery rate, we're discovering now that the majority of people that get it have very mild symptoms and it only lasts a day or 2 or 3. And so this constant worry that you're going to wipe out your whole workforce doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. And I guarantee if you look at every department right now, you've been subjected probably to greater risk of contracting it through your contact with public individuals than you're ever going to do in a party situation like we're talking about. So the threat, if you want to perceive it as a threat, it's already there, but it's being perceived as a mortal threat, and that's definitely not the case. Plus the other thing, when you have congregations of people, you have to look at the square footage and the ceiling height and things of that nature. So let's take a family get together of 10 or 12 people. You all gathered in one room with an 8-foot ceiling. And what are you doing? You're shaking hands, you're hugging, you're kissing. Versus a building like Scott Hall. You got 18-foot ceilings, you're spread out all over the place. Your volume of space is much greater in a facility and a setting like that than it is in a dining room in somebody's house. That's all I'm saying. If they want to have it in the spring and summer, that's the season. I don't have a problem with that. All I'm saying is that I don't want us to continue to make decisions based on something that's not worthy of the decision that we're making. It's time to move on.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Thanks for letting me get that off my chest. I haven't been able to do that since, about July.
And I understand, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. It is, there's being fear put where fear shouldn't be put. But doesn't change the fact that the virus is there.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And it is real. And again, my concern would be, and I think what I said from kind of the get-go on this, was send out a mass email to everyone, so you wanted to attend, who didn't. But a decision we make on whether they get paid for the time off or not is going to deter one way or the other, or interfere with their decision. I don't want to do that. I don't want to interfere. I don't want somebody coming to this luncheon and being afraid to come just because they don't want to not get paid.
What I would suggest is that we pay them for that afternoon in December. Just go ahead and pay them, let them have that afternoon off, and we'll pay it. And
No
then
one's regardless of what.
yeah, and then next July or whenever you have the other event, they don't get paid for that afternoon if they attend.
Or if you just change it, or if you change it to a summer event, it would be the 2021 year. If you don't have a holiday luncheon that, and you decide to go summer, then it would be one in December and one in July, June, July, whatever.
I don't mind having two though in 2021.
Well, they wouldn't be, this would be in 20.
No, I'm talking about, I don't mind having,
He's talking about.
I don't mind having that summer and winter next year to make up.
Oh,
That's what we can decide later.
yeah, we can decide that later. I think we just need,
I would.
I know, well, we can sit here and debate all day long on this virus. We're gonna push it, you know, it is real, it is evident, people are dying from it. So I think we just push this till July or June, whatever we decide to do that, and then we'll move forward from then.
Yeah, Sheena said really the decision's up to the employees.
Yeah,
association.
sounds like
As
they've
far as
already made it.
whether we're gonna pay them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just need a decision on whether the building can be open the afternoon of the
Right.
23rd.
Make a recommendation here, which I don't normally do, but I would like to move that we shut down on the 23rd as we normally do at noon, and we pay the people for the afternoon off, like we always do for the Christmas holiday, whatever you want to call it, just payment. And then we look at what we'll do in July and maybe the same fashion to try to make things better. Any way you look at it, it's gonna be a morale boost for the employees, because they've got a better chance and everything.
Second that.
Have a motion in a second.
Hold on, we got a hand coming up.
Just have an administrative question.
So I'm hearing you said the building is gonna close at 12 o'clock.
And everyone is going to receive 3.5 hours pay. So those people that are working and cannot leave the building are how you going to handle, that same
Are
as
you gonna
last.
treat this as a holiday? A regular holiday? How do we usually do it? If somebody's.
Normally they're given that 3.5 hours to be used by a certain date.
That's nice.
So I just,
How do we adjust that now?
I'll just leave it as
Very
it
like
is.
it have been, it's just like the holiday luncheon happened, everybody went, everybody got that.
yeah, but like for 911, in those places, people
They
couldn't
get
go.
the
So they gave them
three
the 3.5
and a half
hours.
hours.
Like they did.
Yeah, but the date has been different to be used by. Lots of times it was 3.5 hours to be used by the end of the year. So I guess
So are you just looking for a deadline then for those 24-hour facilities? Who
basically
can't, like, take
Correct.
the afternoon off, I guess?
correct. And then those that were scheduled to be off, they didn't get pay at all.
Right.
January 15th, right?
January 15th.
If somebody could see what that date was.
It's
That's
generally
Friday.
the holidays.
That's a Friday, January 15th is a Friday. Will that work?
That's fine. And also, anyone that is scheduled to be off that day anyway, using benefit time, they're not given the 3.5 hours, correct?
Yeah, that would be hard to change that.
And there will be a few that pop up that slip through the cracks, but we'll deal with it.
Just trying to cover the things that have been an issue in the past administration.
That answer good? All. And motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any public comments?
Got one.
My name is William Forrest Feathers. I'm here to report on some appalling conditions at the Johnson County Jail. I was recently there from
Can I get your name?
William Forrest Feathers,
Can you spell the last name for me?
just like on a bird.
Forrest
Yeah.
Feathers?
Yes, ma'am. I was there from the 27th to the 2nd this past week. While I was in the drunk tank, throws a guy in there bleeding out through the blanket in the middle of the pandemic. Overcrowded, nowhere to sit, nowhere to lay. Go to an overflow block to a guy that's been there for 7 months, overcrowded in every block, every cell, guys on the floor. We go to the quarantine block where the temperatures are being taken with people, with guards with no mask on of any kind. You know, talking about choice, I wish I had the choice not to get COVID. You know, we're looking at 4,000 dead in Indiana. You know, of the 214,509 total cases, how many of them chose to have it? You know, our 7-day positivity rate is currently at 9.6%. It's recommended by the World Health Organization to shut down at 5 because we're overloading the healthcare system. Biggest problem I have right now is the complete lack of protections from anybody in charge there at the jail. I filed grievances to this effect, including to just no mask wearing, to single gaiter wearing, which I got a printout here from Johns Hopkins University. Any face coverings with exhalation valve, neck gaiters, or bandanas are not allowed because they're not effective in blocking COVID.
John Hopkins can't make that decision. It has to be CDC
Okay, well, this is for themselves.
That may be their recommendation.
Well, this is what they do for themselves.
Instead of, don't close that, it's not true, that's not correct.
Well, they are doing it for themselves, saying it's no good.
That's their choice.
Yes. So you don't want to hear about the Mayo Clinic also not accepting.
CDC and do.
Well, I mean, I got a study done, published September 2nd concerning mask and what is a mask and how well they work and everything else. Now, granted, there is a lot of words there, but I'm pretty good with this picture. Going from a fitted N95 mask, which they wear in surgery, to homemade masks, knitted mask, a bandana, to no mask. Then out here on the end, we actually have the neck gaiters contributing to the problem. Because gaiters themselves split the particulates into smaller particulates, which hang in the air even longer. That was published September 2nd in Science Advanced Research. It's, you know, here to talk about choice. I wish I had the choice not to get COVID. Sir. You know,
You do have that choice. You know.
no, I did not.
Yes, you do. They make masks that you can obtain that keeps you from spreading the virus and likewise keeps you from contracting it. So it goes
It does
both
not.
ways. Oh, yeah, they make them. And so I would suggest maybe you look into that. So my question to you is, how long were you in the county jail?
6 days.
6 days. Have you tested positive?
Yes, sir.
Now?
Yes, sir.
You are positive now?
Yes.
What are you doing here?
Well, I'm trying
If
to
you're
raise
so
awareness.
concerned about individuals contracting it, you should be quarantined. So what are you doing here if you're positive? You're doing exactly what your child
I'm not in
does,
charge of
and
anybody,
you're
sir.
telling the jail on doing.
I'm not in charge of anybody, sir.
You're in charge of
Of
yourself.
myself, and I,
Exactly.
Sir, right now, if you tested positive for COVID, you're in charge of everybody in this room because you're in here and you shouldn't be in here. In fact, you need to be removed from this room. You're not to be in this room when you're tested positive for COVID.
I didn't see any sign of regulations concerning this.
The regulations come from the same place where you're quoting, sir.
That
We
I'm
got
not allowed
people
to
getting
quote.
up and walking out of this arena because you came in here tested positive for COVID without a mask or with a mask on. That is against every regulation the CDC or who puts out. So don't come in here and lecture us on what is right and what is wrong when you obviously can't do the right thing yourself.
So where was I supposed to bring this up at?
We have email. We have Zoom.
I think we need to have you.
He needs to be removed, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, because that just pisses me off. Stay out of our jail, maybe that'll help. I'm sorry.
That's
Any other?
Did Dan have something to say?
No, yeah, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you after the meeting, that's all.
Okay.
You might want to leave the room. You might want
Yeah, and again, I apologize, everybody's.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.